Today we are going to set up some systems of equations from word problems and solve. So let's see what the first one talks about. One cell phone company has a setup fee or a sign-up fee of $50 and costs $20 per month. So this is some important information here. A $50 sign-up fee, well, that tells us this is a one-time fee. It's like our starting point. We're always going to have to pay that $50. But then after that, whoever ends up signing up pays that one time, and they don't pay it again. But then they also have another fee. So, and that means we have plus a $20 per month fee. So this is a variable amount. And the variable amount depends on how many months we end up using this item for. So if we use it for 1 month, it would just be $20. 2 months would be $40. 3 months, $60. So it kind of depends on the number of months. Over here it says this is the second cell phone company, has an initial fee. Initial means a one-time. So this is just a one-time fee. We start at that point. But then they end up charging more per month. So this is our variable amount. It depends on the number of months that we're going to end up using this product for. So the question is how many months? So the question tells us what our unknown is. Months, M. We'll call M the number of months. We don't know how many that is. And they're asking when will those two different companies charge the same amount. Same means equals. So now we've got an idea about what we're supposed to do. We'll end up answering the last question after we answer our first. So we'll write the first one, the cost. We don't know what the cost is going to be. We'll just say cost of plan 1. So we'll start with plan 1. I'll just put a 1 for plan 1 right here. And their cost equals, well, we got this one-time fee of $50. So $50. And we're going to add that to the variable amount, $20 per month. So again, it depends on how many months we're going to use it. Plan 2. Well, plan 2, well, we have some sort of cost, and that equals, and then we have a $25 per month fee, and an initial fee, so the one-time fee of $30. So we're going to end up using substitution to solve this. They're asking when will these two companies charge the same? So when will their cost of C equal the cost of C? Well, we're just going to take these expressions that C represents and put them in for C. So we've got 20M plus 50 equals 25M plus 30. And so from that point, we can go ahead and do some opposite operations, get the m's by themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract this 20m from both sides. I'm also going to subtract this 30 from both sides. And then I'll have my variables on one side, constants on the other. So now what I've got is 20 equals 5m. And so now I can divide, and that will give me the number of months until they charge the same amount. So when I divide by 5, the number of months is 4. So 4 months, that's the answer for that first part. So we have 4 months, but then it also asks which plan is cheaper after 1 year. Oh, they also ask this, so let's answer this as well. After how many months will the cost be the same? Oh, they didn't ask for it. I thought they might ask for what will that cost be. But they didn't. So it's just which plan is cheaper after a year. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what is their cost after a year. And right now we could probably actually answer that. After 4 months they charge the same. So initially the one that's cheaper is plan 2 because they have a smaller initial amount. But plan 1 charges less per month. So plan 1 is going to be the cheaper one after 4 months. At 4 months, they'll charge the same. But we can prove that the plan number 1 is cheaper after a year by substituting. So let's try that. Let's call 12 months. We'll say 12 months equals 1 year. And we're going to substitute. We're going to do C equals 20 times by 12 plus 50. We'll see what that charge is after a year. See how much more it is. And so we have 2 times 12 is 24, add a 0, and then add that 50, and we got ourselves $290. That is the cost for plan number 1. Well, plan number 2, do the same sort of thing. C equals, and this time we have 25 times by 12 plus 30. So think of quarters as you do this. 25 times by 12. Well, 25 cents is a quarter, and we have 4 quarters makes $1. So 4 times 25 is 100. Well, there are 3 groups of 4 here. So if we do 12 times 25, that's like 12 quarters. So that's 300. And then plus 30 ends up making 330. So there it is. You can definitely see that this is the cheaper one. Plan number 1 is the cheaper one after 1 year. And substitution proved that. Well, there's another problem, very similar, just different type of charges here. We have Ted charges $50. He charges equipment fee of $50, and then he also charges $30 each month. So this equipment fee is kind of like just a one-time charge. He's going to give you this a fee, probably like helps maintain his equipment, or maybe he bought some equipment or something. But this is like a one-time charge. This amount is, when it says each month, that's a changing amount. That is our variable amount. It depends on the number of months that we're going to use it. Well, Ed, he has no setup fee. So there's no charge. That means 0 is our one-time fee. And $40 each month. So he charges more per month. So eventually he'll be more expensive. Again, that's a variable amount. And I know it's a variable because they say each. Each month, per month. Those are typical words that tell us where the variable should be. And we know the variable goes there because the question asks how many months. So that is our unknown. We don't know the number of months. We'll call M the number of months. And they're asking just when they'll charge the same. Well, same again means equals. And then this time they do ask what will that cost end up being. So we'll have to do an extra part after we find out the number of months when they'll be the same. And then we have that same problem of which one's cheaper after a year. And so we said 1 year represents 12 months. And we're breaking it down to months because the amount is, the rate is per month. So we need to have the same units. So we're ready to set up our charges here. Ted, his charge is, so cost equals, and then we have a $50 setup fee and $30 each month. So $30 times the number of months plus $50. Ed, well, he has no initial fee, but he charges $40 per month. So we have no fee to add there. And so all we're going to do is use substitution. We're just going to take that expression of Ted's, and we're going to substitute it into the variable for Ed, for C. And so we have 30M plus 50 equals 40M. And then we can go ahead and solve just 2 steps in this problem. Just got to move that variable over to the right-hand side. So we'll subtract this 30M. Subtract that 30M. And then we have 50. And 50 equals 10M. So one more step there, just of division. We'll divide by 10. And we'll have the number of months it's going to end up being. So it looks as though 50 divided by 10 gives us 5. So 5 equals M. So now we know the number of months. Months was 5. We're going to find out how much that charge is going to be. So it doesn't matter which variable we put that into, or which equation we put into, but we must put it in for M. So we can put it into this M, or we could put it into that M. This is the easier one, Ed's equation, because there's only one step. So I'll use that one. C equals 40 times by 5. And that gives us a cost of 20 plus a 0. So 5 times 4 is 20. Add a 0. So that's $200. So that's going to be the cost at which they both charge the same. So initially, Ed is cheaper because he has no initial cost. But Ted is cheaper after 5 months. So we already know who's cheaper after a year, but let's go ahead and do that substitution. Find out how much each charges after 1 year. So let's take a look at Ted. Ted has, his equation is C equals, and then we have 30, but we're going to multiply that by 12 because it's 1 year, plus 50. And that would be 3 times 12 is 36, and then add a 0. Plus 50 gives us a grand total of $410. So there it is. That's Ted's charge. Remember, he's going to be cheaper because he charges less per month. And after 5 months, they charge the same. After at 5 months, they charge the same. Anything after that, Ted's the cheaper one. So let's see what Ed's is. Cost equals 40 times by 12. Multiply those two amounts, not a whole lot more, $480. I got that by doing 12 times 4 is 48, and then you add a 0. So you can see Ted is definitely the cheaper one. Well, those are some examples of why we use systems of equations and how to write them.